Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be going over and reviewing a new concealer from Dior. This is their Forever Skin Correct. It retails for $36 US and you can find it in 30 different shades. I grabbed the shade 3WP and 2WP. I ordered this one first. I was going to review it a while back, but I ordered this shade, which is a little bit too deep, and you'll see here in a sec when I swatch both of them for you. And so I was going to go in and exchange it, but with everything happening, I'd rather not have to drive out, or I didn't want to drive out to Sephora and, just be out unnecessarily. So instead I just ordered 2WP and I had to wait for that to arrive. So that's why you're finally getting the review now instead of like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, all right, so let's go over the description for this concealer. It is supposed to be an all-in-one 24-hour wear extreme skincare and concealer. So skincare and concealer all in one. In a single sweep, this multi-use concealer hides under-eye circles, like the ones you see here, localized redness, blemishes, and imperfections without settling into facial lines. We'll see about that. A lot of concealers claim to not settle into fine lines, but not a lot of them actually do that. So we'll see. We'll see how this wears and whether or not it settles into fine lines. It's supposed to provide you with a flawless complexion from morning to night. So it's supposed to be a very long wearing concealer. So the coverage on this does claim to be buildable. So you can go from very light if you need very little coverage, perhaps you have like a little tiny blemish that you're just trying to conceal, or you can go to full coverage like what I'm gonna do underneath the eyes for like dark circles. Let's see what else. This concentrated 24-hour skincare is enriched with wild pansy extract for smooth, moisturized skin with a refined appearance. The quality of the complexion progressively improves. So we not only get a concealer out of this, but we also get skincare, which is I'm all for, yes. Applied with the applicator, it can be blended with fingers or a brush. Perfect. Now the Dior website doesn't state whether or not this concealer can be set, should be set, if so with what powder. Now the Sephora website has it listed as far as the finish as natural, which is what my Pat McGrath concealer is as well, which I do set. So if I see that this does need to be set, I will be setting it with my Pat McGrath blurring under eye powder. This one right here. This is the one that I use with my Pat McGrath concealer, and it works really, really well. It also works really, really well with my Hourglass concealer, with my Boing concealer, my Boing Cakeless concealer, my Tarte Shape Tape. Like, it works really well with pretty much any concealer that I've paired this with. So if I do see that I need to set it, I'll set it with this. So as far as how I'm going to test this out, I'm going to test this concealer out both with a corrector underneath and without a corrector underneath. I want to see what type of coverage this does deliver, whether or not it needs a corrector. Very rarely do I run into concealers that don't need a corrector underneath in order to provide full coverage, but a lot of them do, especially when you have like dark circles like me. You definitely want to color correct a little bit before you go in with a concealer. You get the most out of your concealer that way. As far as what I'm using in order to blend it out, I'm going to be using my trusty deluxe crease brush from Real Techniques. So let's get started with the corrector first. I'm using my Becca corrector. This one is in the shade medium to deep, and I'm only going to be applying this underneath the right side. All right, now that the corrector is set, let me jump off camera really quickly in order to apply foundation to the entire face, and then I will be right back and we can start to conceal the under eye area. All right, so now I am back. It is time to conceal based on the shades that I have. This one is, what did I say? This one is 3WP, this one is 2WP, and that is a combination of the two. I think I'm gonna do a combination of the two because that is too light. It might look a little gray underneath the eyes. That is too deep. However, both of them together, they look to be about right. So I'm going to use both of them combined. All right, so I'm going to start off light and then work my way up if I need to. So I'm going to start off with just a few dots underneath the eyes, and then if I need a little bit more coverage, I can add a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, just depending on what we get. So I'm going to start off here. 1, 2, 3. Over here. 1, 2, and 3. And this is 3WP. I'm going to do the lighter of the two, 2WP. I'm going to do it here. It's a tiny little dot there. Another one here. Another one here. Same over here. Oh, that one's a little bigger. That's okay. Let's go with it. All right, next I'm gonna grab my Deluxe Crease Brush and just blend it all out. All right, there's one side. It looks really good up close. Really, really good right now. It looks pretty natural. It doesn't look too heavy or like too much because obviously we didn't use much. And as far as coverage, I'd say it's delivering a lot of coverage. Oh yeah. All right, let's do this side now and see what we get. All right, so there it is. I like it. I like the way that it looks up close. It doesn't look like too much heavy in any way. It is starting to settle into my fine lines just a little bit over here though. So I am definitely going to set this. All right, so like I said, I'm using my Pat McGrath under eye. What is this called? This is like the longest name ever. It is the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder. So I'm just taking a little bit of that with my tapered highlighter brush from Sigma Beauty. This is the F35. And I'm going to press it under the eye. I'm going to take a little bit more, shake off the excess, and set. All right, so now that everything is set, I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after initial application. All right, so this is the under eye area after initial application. I don't know if I applied enough of this concealer though, because I can still see my dark circles a little bit right here. Other than that though, it looks really nice as of right now. All right, so now that you've seen the under eye area, I'm going to jump off camera really quickly in order to finish the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. All right, so now I am back, makeup is done. I still really like the under eye area. I like the way that it looks up close. It looks pretty natural. The makeup looks really light. However, I feel like perhaps I could have used a little bit more, like I said, a little bit more concealer just to conceal a little bit more, just to get a little bit better coverage. But this amount of coverage, I'm okay with, I'm really good with, and especially considering the way that it looks underneath the eyes. So it is currently 10:27 in the morning. I do plan on wearing this the entire day. And of course, I will be back halfway through the day to show you all some close-ups and to see how the concealer is wearing at that point. So I will see you all back here in a few hours for my midday check-in. Okay, so now I am back for my midday check-in. It is currently, what time is it? It's 2:30 on the dot, which means I've had this concealer on now for a good 4 hours. Now, before I give you my current thoughts on the concealer, I am going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after 4 hours of wear. All right, so this is the concealer at this point in time. I feel like it looks a little dry over here to me. It just looks a little tiny bit dry. But aside from that, it still looks really nice underneath the eyes. It's not like accentuating any of my fine lines. It hasn't worn off, not that I've noticed. And it still looks pretty like natural and radiant over here. So far, still pretty good. All right, so that is the current situation 4 hours in. I still like it, especially over here. Just looks a little bit more hydrated than it does over here. But both sides are still wearing really well. Like if I was just left with this, I wouldn't be so upset. Now, when a concealer looks extremely dry, like to the point where I need a lot of hydration underneath the eyes, that's when it bothers me. But this, totally fine. I'm good with it. We'll see how we finish the day. I do plan on wearing this for an additional 4 hours or so I will be back at the end of my day in order to give you all my final thoughts on this new concealer. All right, so now I am back for my final check-in. It is currently, what time is it? It is 6:54. So I've had this concealer on now for a solid 8 hours, a little over 8 hours. Now, before I get into my opinion of the concealer after wearing it for an entire day, I am going to zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the under eye area after 8 hours of wear. All right, so this is the under eye area. Nothing has really changed, really. Since my midday check-in, nothing's really changed. Everything still looks pretty much the same to me. So aside from, of course, this side looking just a little bit dry like it did earlier, there's not much else to report on. All right, so now that that's out of the way, what do I think? I like the concealer. I like it because of how it wore on me the entire day. It looks very natural. It looks nice. It looks light. It doesn't look like it has moved around. It hasn't separated in between fine lines. It hasn't settled in between fine lines. I did set it with a powder at the beginning of the day because when I first applied it, it was starting to settle just a little bit. But after setting it, I didn't have any issues with it at all. The only complaints that I would have, or the only two complaints that I would have, or that I have, if I have to say something about it, is that I didn't get as much coverage as I was hoping with the amount of product that I use. So next time that I use it, I will use a little bit more than what I did today. And by itself, it just looks a little bit dry. It looks a little bit dry, but that's it. Those are the only complaints. Other than that, it's a really, really nice concealer that's very natural looking. At least it is to me. So those are my thoughts on this new concealer. Thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's product review and that you found it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you all. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah! Bye.